Hello and welcome to Intoxicated Masculinity, where we talk about drinking culture, pop culture, breaking news culture, and anything else that comes up. Joining me as always is Brandon.
Hello, my people.
Jim.
Hello, everybody.
And Kale.
Hello, my fellow human beings.
So we've got a real, just kind of a quick hits episode for you. It just broke tonight that there was a leak that the Supreme Court will be overturning Roe v. Wade, which is interesting considering a bunch of the justices that did that just sat in front of Congress within the last several years and said they believe that precedent is important. So what this basically means is that abortion will likely be illegal in many states because many states have these. Jim, do you know what they call them? It's like a law.
Death cults.
I'm sorry.
They're called death cults.
Well, that's not exactly what I'm talking about. They're basically a law that says that they've already made abortion illegal as soon as the Supreme Court says it is. So as soon as the Supreme Court decision comes out, abortion will be illegal in many, many states. And
so it's like a pro-life sanctuary.
Essentially, yeah. So I don't know, Brandon, I'll start off with you. What are your sort of initial thoughts? And by the way, we're not going to get in depth in this. This is just something I thought we should talk about. We, get into politics a lot, and this is something we all kind of care about. So this is just going to be sort of initial thoughts, and that's what we're going to talk about. So, Brandon, what do you think?
I think this is a disgusting, stupid move perpetrated by zealots and ideologues who believe they're doing something right, which is just an inconceivable notion to me. They're clearly trying to turn some part of our U.S. government into a theocracy. They want us to be ruled by Sky Jew that tells us, what to do all the time. It's a really, really stupid thing to do, because every country that has tried to outlaw abortion, the amount of abortions have not gone down. The only thing that has gone up is the amount of women dying from back alley abortions. Making it illegal doesn't stop abortions. People still need them. Now you're just making it so you can arrest someone who is in a dire situation and they might die from it. Good job.
Yeah, just to clarify, they're called trigger laws. So trigger laws essentially are where, as soon as the Supreme Court declares abortion not protected, it will immediately be illegal in. I'm not going in depth here. It looks like somewhere between 13 and 21 states. So yeah, Jim, what's your take?
So one thing I'd like to mention is, besides the laws that you were talking about that spring into effect, there are some states that had outlawed abortion decades ago, like over 100 years ago. And those laws have not been enforced since Roe versus Wade, but they never took them off the books. I don't know how many there are, but I know Michigan and Wisconsin are two states like that, where those laws are still in the books. So when this decision comes down, their laws will spring back into effect. So one of the things that I think is really perplexing is one of the arguments that I read that the Supreme Court is kind of hanging its hat on, is that Roe versus Wade was really controversial and it's torn the country apart. And so, wow, this is the way you fix it. I can't imagine that we aren't going to be having abortion and other privacy rights as the top issue in almost every political race of significance for years, decades.
Yeah, and Jim, I think on top of that, you sort of brought this up in sort of an ancillary way, is remember, because of the issues that this case is dealing with, this doesn't just, abortion being illegal is obviously a huge, horrible thing that they're going to do, but that's not where it necessarily ends. This gets back to gay marriage. This gets back to interracial marriage. It makes it possible that you could see some states banning interracial marriage. That's the country that you currently live in. And if you don't like it, you should make some noise right now, because this is where it starts.
So it also gets back to criminalizing sexual acts.
Sodomy laws. Yeah.
Right. And contraception. I mean, there's no their test that they're hanging their hat on is whether these unenumerated rights are historically recognized rights. And there's, I mean, how do you say there's historically recognized rights to contraception? I mean,
Well, and in no way, shape, or form are the people pressing this ideology in the majority in our country. They're just really loud, and they've managed to get people into power, but they're not in the majority. What they want is not in the majority.
Well, Kale, I want to talk to you too. One other thing I think that is, before we move on to you, Kale, that I find to be endlessly hilarious about this. Two points. One, this is being passed by the supposed party of small government, who now wants to police who you can have sex with. And secondly,
government that could fit inside your uterus, right?
Or, well, it's certainly inside your bedroom. And the other one is somebody posted online that for that a person to get an abortion after this decision come out, they would have to drive all the way to Illinois, when actually there's a much closer place they could go to get an abortion, which is Cuba, which I find there's a certain level of irony in people leaving Miami to go to Cuba for an abortion, just to be sort of lovely little irony. But Kale, what are your thoughts?
Well, I think Cuba probably has a better medical providership than you can find in Florida, from my understanding. I could be wrong about that. Overall, this is not a good thing. This is not a good thing at all. This is fascism dressed in religion. And when I say that, I mean that this country was founded by Puritans who believe in living your life a certain way and only living it that way. And when you decide that you're going to have intercourse with someone and then something happens unexpected, like you create zygote, and then you decide that you don't want that zygote anymore, you should be able to get rid of that. Because and I'm just saying, from my perspective, I'm sitting here with 3 other dudes. None of us have a uterus. None of us knows what it's like to have a uterus. It's like saying that all guys, to put it in perspective, it would be like if they put a law out that said that all guys have to wear a condom or you'll be arrested.
Yeah.
Or you have to get a vasectomy in certain circumstances, or you will be, breaking the law.
Just a real. Sorry, go ahead. I thought you were pausing.
Well, if you got something to interject real quick, I'm not finished.
I was just going to add on. You were saying if you just, you accidentally have one, even if you on purpose had a zygote, consent is constantly something that is updated. If you no longer consent to have that zygote, even if you did at first, still your right to get rid of it.
By the way, on top of all this, and this is something that we're not going to get too in depth here. I really want to keep this just kind of surface level, just kind of our initial thoughts on this, because we'll do.
Keep your ethics out of it,
right?
Slippery slope. And when you tie to them a religion, okay, there's a reason for a separation of church and state,
which is clearly recognized and always been recognized. But just one medical thing that should be noted here. Remember, abortions aren't just for people that, got pregnant without meaning to, and now have decided they don't want to be pregnant. First of all, I support their right to an abortion just as much, but there's also things like such as ectopic pregnancies. I mean, these are essentially stillbirths, and a lot of these laws would make women carry stillbirths to term. I mean, these are life-threatening conditions, certainly health-threatening conditions, not to mention the emotional impact that carrying a dead fetus to term, carries with it. But it's just, this is all just grandstanding by people that have this sort of invented morality that says that if I'm pro-life, then I must be a good person. I can, crush the poor. I can kick people out of their homes. I can allow people to die in the streets, but as long as I'm
including
pro-life,
children who
but
they
as
were
long-
protecting a year ago.
but as long as I'm pro-life, I'm a moral person. Anyway, I don't want to get too deep into this. I just wanted to at least put some out so we all get our thoughts out on this. But we will definitely do a show and talk more in depth about this. Maybe we could even have somebody who has a uterus on the show and to talk about it, and they could give their thoughts. But that being said, Brent, do you have any closing thoughts on this one?
It just makes me angry. I can't believe that I wonder what that is that they actually tell themselves at night when they go to bed. I don't know how they sleep at night.
Like I said, when we get to this a full show on this, I'll talk more about that. But I believe it's about an invented morality. Jim, what about you?
So my closing thought for today is 5 Republicans voted for Roe v. Wade. 2 Democrats joined, but it was a group of Republican judges that made it happen. And for almost 50 years since then, I've been having to hear ad nauseum how liberal justices are activists and conservative justices just call balls and strikes, and they have judicial restraint. And this is not judicial restraint. This is
Provable
not balls and
nonsense.
strikes.
It's such a great point, because the Republicans have always talked about these quote unquote activist judges. And it's horseshit. First of all judges are activists because you're interpreting the law, and interpreting the law is always going to be at its base an activist thing, because interpretations change, people's understanding of things change. And so every judge is an activist judge. Cale, what are your kind of closing thoughts?
2 things. One, I heard that whoever leaked this, their career is over. And I really hope that it's someone from the right side of that bench, because that would just be so suiting for them to be bragging about how they're winning and then find out that, oh yeah, your career's over. But then secondly, Mike and I have discussed this before. The only real, serious, legitimate legal argument that you could make is a violation of civil rights. But which civil rights are you considering? The fetus, if it is a fetus at that point, or the mother, who is a citizen who has been living here under the same beliefs, the same rights?
Well, my thing there is,
the fetus is a potential human being. The woman is an actual human being.
even if you grant personhood, it doesn't really matter. Fetuses don't have special rights. If as a 2-year-old, they couldn't force the mom to be hooked up to them through an IV and work as a filter for the blood for the 2-year-old, they can't force the mother to keep having the child. It's not saying, oh, they have to kill the child. That's just what happens. But there's nothing saying that mother has to continue the pregnancy. They don't have special rights just because they're pre-born.
And I think, just to close things out, I think that if the Supreme Court is incredibly concerned with their right to privacy when it comes to the leaking of this decision, maybe they could consider the right to privacy of women, since this decision is taking away these women's right to privacy. The irony is just like, I know some people overuse the word ironic, but this is the definition of ironic. The Supreme Court getting mad that their decision to take away privacy rights from women has infringed on the right to privacy. You just can't make that shit up. But we will definitely be talking more about this. I just wanted to get our thoughts out there and get out there as soon as we can. I want to thank everybody for watching. Please like, share, subscribe, be safe, donate to Planned Parenthood, call your representatives, call your congressmen, call your senators, call anybody, post about this on social media, get it out there. This is a really bad thing. Thank everybody for. Say again, Kel.
Be safe out there.
Yeah, be safe.